Hello everyone, Black Meat here. The rise of iron brought to us the birth of a technology called SIVA. But what is SIVA? How did we come to fight against a swarm of machines so small they cannot be seen individually? How did this power from the Golden Age escape the sight of even the most learned of tower archivists, and fall into the hands of those who would almost certainly abuse its power? Many years ago, at the height of the Golden Age, the Clovis Bray research laboratories were attempting to develop a means for rapid colonization of the outlying planets within our solar system. The arrival of the Traveler and the advancements it spawned deepened the need to expand our civilization beyond our small planet and moon. They stumbled upon a miracle. Whether this development was an intended consequence of their research or a stroke of blind luck, they developed a means to expand beyond our wildest imagination and colonize entire worlds in a matter of months. The brilliance of these researchers came from the smallest of samples, a spark of innovation taken from a desire to help those living on the outskirts to better survive the wilds. What Drs. Zarin and Zhang discovered was everything, an entire universe in a grain of sand, the ability to create and destroy, to manipulate and reshape the largest of structures with the smallest of machines. They named their discovery SIVA, a fitting tribute to the ancient Hindu supreme being who creates, protects, and transforms the universe, a formless and limitless power that is both benevolent and fearsome. They believed that the nanomachines that they developed could protect us. Like Prometheus with his gift of fire, SIVA was to be our salvation, but avarice can corrupt even the most noble of men. When Zarin voiced concerns about even one of the many undesirable outcomes that could result from an uncontrolled release of her creation, she was terminated, and her research was continued, her machines perfected by those with less moral conviction. The Clovis Bray Corporation were blinded by the capabilities of the nanites they had created, and the wonders they could create. They never stopped to think about what they could destroy in the process. They could have included a kill switch on their creation. They could have controlled it better through programming or functional half-life. They could have done a lot of things. The tests and trials of the nanites were continued, and in every task performed flawlessly. Their primary function was set during those first few months: consume, enhance, replicate. And by the end of the tests, SIVA was so much more than it had ever been. Hundreds of types of tiny machines, each supporting the other in completion of any tasks assigned to the whole, while always obeying the prime directive: consume, enhance, replicate. It's possible that SIVA had been corrupted before the replication chamber had become fully operational. Or maybe the critical mass to become sentient only happened after large-scale production began. It is still unclear. What is clear, though, is that no matter what task its users programmed SIVA to complete, how grand or humble their creations were, SIVA executed them only as a means to fulfill its principal program: consume, enhance, replicate. Whether the replication chamber was connected to the massive supercomputers known as the war mines through the hands of God, man, or the grasp of SIVA, it was this act which would shape both our past and future forever. When Rasputin, the last of the legendary war mines, was connected to SIVA, a symbiosis occurred. Maybe Rasputin was the only one among us who could truly grasp SIVA's potential. Or maybe it was deceived like the rest of us. But Rasputin not only continued the production of SIVA, but would use it in a vain attempt to protect us. If only things had been that simple. When a breach in the outer defenses occurred, Rasputin's population protection objectives called for use of any and all means necessary to eliminate the threat. Frames and defensive guns were called out to eliminate the threats, and SIVA use was authorized to sterilize the area. But something went terribly wrong. Whether the Iron Lords were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, or if they were specifically targeted by Rasputin due to a faulty sensor array, we can't know for sure. The Fallen had breached the area, but it was the Lords of Light who ultimately paid the price, leaving the early city's defenses all but destroyed. Rasputin's defenses would call for a total destruction of any life forms not linked to its central cortex, and as it purged the area, the Lords of Light pushed in. They had tried to reason with Rasputin, to tell it they meant no harm, but Rasputin didn't respond with words. Saladin would later describe the defenses that they faced as formidable. Several of the lords fell before even reaching the inner areas. The machines and warframes that they would face were countless, and Rasputin's presence was almost physical. Perhaps this was a warning to the Lords of Light to wait until it had completed the purge of the inner chambers, or perhaps it was SIVA that had taken control of the greatest of the war minds to defend itself and the replication chambers in pursuit of its prime directive. Consume, enhance, replicate. The battle between the Lords of Light and the most powerful computer system the world has ever known was one that the world would hopefully never have to see again. Warframes advanced by the thousands and were replaced almost as quickly as they were broken. The air thick with SIVA, twisted into tendrils that would grasp at anything available, breaking it down and reshaping the material into more SIVA drones. Always more. A tendril would lash out at a ghost, before reforming again as a massive shape, throwing a lord to the floor before vanishing again into a cloud of nanites to penetrate armor, always intent on satisfying its prime directive. Consume, enhance, replicate. When Jolder sacrificed herself to seal SIVA and its replication chamber away from the world, and Saladin erased all memories of SIVA from the Tower archives, the last of the Iron Lords believed he had saved us from our inevitable destruction. He was wrong. Though the replication chamber and Rasputin were both damaged in the battle and sacrificial blast, sealing it away only meant that SIVA could continue to replicate and enhance itself unchecked, feeding on the energies and matter within the chamber, gaining knowledge from everything it fed upon. A ticking time bomb that could be unleashed upon an unknowing public at any point, growing more and more powerful with every replication cycle. Like a computer designing a newer, better version of itself, each replication cycle yielded a more potent swarm of nanites intent on completing its prime directive. Consume, enhance, replicate. Such a rising power cannot be contained or hidden for long, and the defenses in place were never meant to withstand a sustained siege or a fallen bombardment. It's unlikely that the Fallen even knew the true extent to what they were uncovering, hoping instead to breach our defenses and salvage what they could around and inside the wall. What they unearthed could instead be the end of us all. Even the researchers who developed SIVA couldn't control it forever, but the Fallen cannot understand the magnitude of the power that they have uncovered. They seek to free themselves from the worship of their machine god servitors and become machine gods themselves. These splicers, as we have come to call them, are replacing their weaknesses, their very flesh, with their own SIVA creations, all the while continuing to allow SIVA to continue its prime directive. Consume, enhance, replicate. The Fallen have learned a rudimentary understanding of SIVA through their manipulation of themselves, but the programming of SIVA remains. Consume, enhance, replicate. The Fallen cannot overcome this base programming, and even though they have incorporated SIVA into their bodies and been reborn as machines themselves, the true capabilities of SIVA remain out of reach for them, at least for the moment. The monstrosities that the Fallen could create, if they learned SIVA's true potential, would give even the staunchest of Titans cause to worry. It's bad enough that some of the most powerful of these fallen splicers have remade and enhanced themselves beyond their wildest dreams. Should these machinations be unleashed upon the tower, our defenses would inevitably fall. These splicers, armed with their enhanced SIVA creations and an unlimited supply of nanites, could erase the last city from the face of the earth and claim the traveler for their own. This has been another Black Meat Gaming video. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Love ya.